We'll try this out again. We'll see if it works this time. Hi, today is the 9th of October. It is my day 150, 1.150, which means 1 year and 150 days. So I'm a couple days short of 5 months, which is 1 month short of 18 months. People tend to go in, 6 months, year, 18, 2 year, etc., etc. Lots of odds and ends today. I felt like in the last couple days I've had kind of a sad grimace on my face, and I think it has to deal with getting ready for my dad coming to town, and I'm a little bit nervous because since I transitioned, my dad has been a very long arm's distance away. And whenever I send him an email, I say, "I love you, Robin," my name. Or I call him on the phone, I'll say, "Hello, this is Robin." Or I answer the phone, "Hello, this is Robin," or whatever. And he never calls me that. He never calls me Robin. He always calls me Rob, which is my dead name. So, a couple weeks ago, I got a card in the mail from him, and it was like, kind of like, and I got one for my birthday, happy birthday, and it had my dead name on it, on the envelope, and it had my dead name on the card. And so part of me feels like in the spectrum here, there are people who flat out do not accept the people we have become or are becoming. And then there are other people who are just, they don't, they're accepting and supportive, and then there's people in the middle that don't care, as long as you don't rub it in my face, etc., etc. But with my dad, I think it has gotten somewhat to maybe a bit of disbelief and then a bit of not passive aggressive, but resistance, a nonviolent protest, I'm not going to support you. And then now I think it's kind of crossed the line that it's deliberate, and over here is flat out, no. And so the fact that this will be his first visit since I've gone full time, I guess I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit, all I can do is say, "Pardon me for interrupting you, but I would greatly appreciate it if you would call me Robin." And in my mind, I foresee just in a 5-minute conversation in the next couple days, I'm going to say that to him 3 times. Every single time he calls me by my dead name, I'll say, "Pardon me for interrupting, but I would greatly appreciate it if you would call me Robin." Or, "Pardon me for interrupting, but I would greatly appreciate it if you would use the correct pronoun for me, which is she and her." And so we'll see. And to a degree, optimist that I am, I really hope that once he comes up and sees how much of a change this is, my hope is that he will perhaps consider stop using my dead name. And in the case of my birthday, he had sent me a little birthday check, and the check was written out to my dead name. And so again, if you go to your bank and you are Cassandra Villavanova, or Claire Brown, or Sandy Smith, and your check says Eric Van Housen or something, it's obviously you're a woman and this check is written out to a man that's not even your name. It causes you grief, and so again, I think, what I would say to my dad, do you realize that you gave this to me and it's basically useless? you gave money to someone who doesn't exist anymore. And then I have to go to the bank and explain and, out myself. And it's like pain and suffering that doesn't have to happen, you know. And again, optimist that I am, I want to just chalk it up to he didn't know any better or it was a mistake or whatnot. But again, I think we have to make contact, and he has to see me in my environment, you know. And at that point, if he doesn't come on board, then I think it is malicious and whatnot. So we'll see. Fingers are crossed, as they say. Had an experience yesterday where I was at the grocery store and someone gave me a passing glance. It was the cashier and said, "Hello, sir." And then they did like a double take and said, "Oh, hello, ma'am." They corrected themselves. So I kind of think that was a mistake. And as recently as a couple minutes ago, I was on a conference call helping someone out with some stuff at work, and I think they said, "Thank you, man," or something like that. And water off a duck's back. I take my mom even a couple weeks ago said something. She called me Rob, and I don't look at that as a negative thing. Whereas with my dad, yeah, I think it's a little deliberate. It's and again, I think when you're in someone else's house, like my house, my rules apply. And if we're in a public setting, again, I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping. I'm so hoping. And why, you may ask? Just this morning, I got up and I did my stuff and I did my normal routine of natural. I'm not wearing any makeup. And I've just fell in love with who I am. Excuse me, I have to adjust. I fell in love with the woman I've become, and girls, I am still becoming, right? Right? Okay. I'm hoping. They're growing. But, again, it's one of those things, the further and further you transition, it's like it happens and you're like, oh my gosh, I am this other person. For years I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew it wasn't this. And then you become this other, you become your authentic self, and it's wonderful. And I want my father to experience that joy, which he won't do if he's, and it's his loss. It's a shame. That aside, over the weekend I helped my daughter I sewed her Halloween costume this year, and it was very, very affirming, that I made the right decision. Not to say that a father, a man can't use a sewing machine. Please, but it felt really, really good to be there with my apron. And I had the pin thing on my arm and the measuring tape, and I'm sewing. I'm a mother sewing for her child, her Halloween costume. It made me very, very happy. And she was very, very appreciative of it. And that's the other thing. Thank goodness. All the time I was so worried about my daughter rejecting me, and good Lord. And she's very loving. And she loves me. I'm still her daddy. I'll always be her daddy. But I take that as a badge of honor. It'd be nice if when we're in a group of people, she wouldn't say, "Hey, daddy," da 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 da. But what are you gonna do? And I think that's it. I think that's my ramble. Things are happening. Losing weight, not as fast as I want. But I think I've lost about 60 pounds. between the time I went to the GCS surgeon and she said I was too fat. Thanks. So I've got 39 pounds to lose, and my hope is I will lose it by January, and I can go up and just have another consult, and they'll weigh me, and at that point it'll be, okay, let's schedule your surgery, or okay, they've got to go through authorization process with my health insurance. But I feel like that's like people, they used to joke about your high school wrestlers, they would starve themselves for the weigh-in, and then they would bulk up or whatever. I feel somewhat like, or the jockeys, where they weigh them in the saddle. I want to get to that doctor's appointment, and yes, I've lost the weight like you asked me, and then I'm gonna start living again. Then I'm gonna start eating again, maybe. And really, that's about it. And this was kind of a funny, and then I'll stop. I took a bath the other day, and I have not taken a bath since I transitioned. And I was amazed, or lost all the weight, 60 some odd pounds. And I was surprised because I actually fit in the tub. I didn't used to fit in the tub. My body touched both sides of the tub. Okay. And I always felt like Jabba the Hutt in my tub, but I fit in the tub with room to spare, and that's how much shaping has going on. Well, yeah, I think I went from an apple to a pear, a lumpy pear. Oh, here's my analogy. Sorry, I promised I'd stop. But this is a good mental exercise. Let's assume for the moment science comes up with a way where you can take an apple and through some sort of process convert it to an orange. Okay, you have an apple and we have an orange. Okay, and so once the apple has transitioned and has become an orange, it's an orange. Now, one could argue it's not a pure apple because it's not a pure orange because it started off as an apple. But through this process, the skin has changed, the texture has changed, the pulp on the inside, the flavoring, everything has changed into an orange. And so one could say, well, it's a trans orange, or it's as close to an orange as it can be, but it started off as an apple. And so this takes me back again to my thought process kind of with my dad. I am at the point, and you may find yourself at the point, where you are no longer what you were initially. And one could say, well, you're not a woman. And you'd say, well, technically, no, I'm a trans woman, and I am trying to be as close to a woman as I can. And after I have my surgery, there basically will be no physiological difference between me and a woman who had a hysterectomy. So much like that apple that's kind of become an orange, for someone to look at it and say, no, once you're an apple, you're an apple. It's the same way with trans women, I think. For you to say, oh no, once you're a man, you're a man. And they're welcome to their opinion. But I want to be treated over here as the trans orange. I want to be treated as an orange. But, that's kind of how I look. I hope that my dad can see all of that it takes, all that I have done to transition. And it's not just something that he can la 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 la. You know what I mean? Me going to work and being treated, and if we go out to eat, I kind of have a feeling he's kind of ashamed of me, so we're probably not going to go out to eat. But if we do, and I get ma'amed, at some point you got to throw up your hands and say, okay, I believe, or I may disagree, but I won't hold you back. So food for thought, hopefully. And I think that's it. I hope everyone is doing super on your journey, wherever you may be. And we will catch up with you the next time. All right. Thank you for your time, and good luck. Bye.